You see the spark catch fire when Cardi B celebrates the release of her second studio album, Am I the Drama? The project launches straight to #1 on the Billboard charts, pulling in millions of streams and grabbing headlines everywhere. To fans, it feels like a defining moment, proof that Cardi still knows how to command attention and turn controversy into fuel for her career. But while the applause is loud, you notice the undercurrent of whispers, the critics who suggest the numbers aren't as solid as they appear. Then Nicki Minaj steps in, and suddenly those whispers grow louder. It's not just an offhand comment either. Nicki makes jabs about Cardi's sales strategy, mocking the way her album was packaged and questioning the legitimacy of its rise. You scroll through social media and watch as Nicki's remarks spread like wildfire, clipped into short videos, dissected in threads, and repeated in group chats. For a moment, it feels like she's throwing shade the way she always has, sharp, sarcastic, and strategic. But this time, you sense the tone is heavier. The rivalry has history, and the moment Nicki presses on Cardi's success, the air shifts from playful competition to open fire. Cardi doesn't leave space for interpretation. She responds quickly, her words cutting and direct, making sure Nicki and everyone else knows she isn't intimidated. The insults fly with a precision that feels personal, as though she's been waiting for this exact moment to let them out. You scroll through her posts and see the rawness in her delivery, unfiltered and emotional, hitting at both Nicki's career and her character. Fans take sides instantly, and within hours, your timeline turns into a war zone. What began as a celebration of Cardi's music transforms into the opening shots of a feud that refuses to die. You notice how fast the energy shifts once Cardi fires back. The internet turns into a live arena, with millions of fans dissecting every line, every screenshot, and every piece of old footage that might prove one queen stronger than the other. Hashtags appear within minutes. Hashtag Team Cardi and hashtag Team Nicki, each carrying its own wave of defenders and instigators. You scroll through endless threads where people compare their careers, streaming numbers, and even personal lives, all trying to crown a winner in a battle that feels as much about legacy as it does about music. Cardi's words sting because they don't just hit Nicki's artistry, they dig into her persona. Calling her Cocaine Barbie feels like a deliberate attempt to strip away the polish Nicki has built for years. You sense the insult isn't random. It's loaded, aimed at reminding the world that Cardi sees through the image and wants everyone else to as well. Fans react instantly, some laughing at Cardi's audacity, others claiming she crossed a line. The tension builds with every retweet, every comment, every new edit that goes viral. Nicki, of course, doesn't stay silent. She hits back with her own sharpness, twisting the conversation toward Cardi's personal life and her recent pregnancy announcement. The move shocks you. It feels like Nicki is dragging the feud out of the realm of music and pulling it into something far more intimate. Instead of just challenging Cardi's career, she's questioning her as a mother, a woman, and a public figure. The comments sting harder, and as you read them, you realize this is no longer a battle for chart dominance. It's turning into a war where nothing is off limits. You watch the clash escalate when Nicki brings Cardi's pregnancy into the spotlight, and suddenly the feud feels different. What was once an exchange of bars and statistics has now turned into something raw and personal. Nicki's words spark outrage, not only among Cardi's supporters, but also among neutral fans who see it as crossing a line. You scroll through comments filled with disbelief, people questioning how low the shots can go, while others defend Nicki, arguing that nothing is off limits in the world of rap beef. The divide deepens, and your feed becomes a battlefield of morals and loyalties. Cardi doesn't retreat. In fact, the pregnancy comments only seem to fuel her fire. You see her post videos where she talks directly to the camera, her tone sharp and unfiltered, reminding the world that she has always fought against doubters and critics. She makes it clear she won't let anyone, not even Nicki Minaj, undermine her as a mother or as an artist. The intensity in her delivery makes you feel like she's talking straight to her enemies, using every ounce of frustration and pride to keep herself standing tall. The back and forth isn't just entertainment anymore, it's spilling into real life. Paparazzi capture Cardi out and about, her body language defiant, her presence louder than than words. Nicki, on the other hand, continues her online tirades, keeping her fan base active and energized. You notice how the media amplifies each move, turning every live stream, every tweet, every casual appearance into a headline. It's no longer just about music. It's about dominance, reputation, and survival in an industry that thrives on rivalries. And as you scroll, you realize you're watching two women fight not just each other, but the very narrative of who gets to be on top. You realize the feud is no longer confined to Cardi and Nicki when other voices begin to surface. Artists, influencers, and even industry veterans drop their opinions, some subtle, some direct, turning the conflict into a public spectacle. You scroll through tweets where smaller rappers hint at their allegiance, while others post cryptic messages that fans quickly interpret as shade. Every word, every emoji, every like becomes evidence in a war that seems to pull the entire hip-hop community into its orbit. Cardi notices the noise and doubles down. She warns that anyone inserting themselves into her business will get the same treatment as Nicki. Her tone feels less like a warning and more like a promise, and you can see the seriousness in her eyes when she goes live. The comments flood in, with supporters cheering her strength and critics accusing her of dragging things too far. You realize that for Cardi, this isn't just a feud, it's a defense of her place in the culture, a refusal to let anyone dictate how her story is told. Nicki, meanwhile, thrives in the chaos. She posts in ways that feel calculated, knowing exactly how to rile her fans into attacking Cardi at every turn. You see her liking certain posts, sharing specific clips, and dropping lines that don't name Cardi directly, but leave no room for doubt about who she means. It's a chess match played in public, and you're watching it unfold, move by move. What fascinates you most is how quickly the fans become soldiers. They dig up old interviews, resurface past fights, and edit clips to prove their chosen queen is untouchable. It feels less like music fandom and more like warfare. And as you scroll, you understand why this feud never dies. It's become bigger than the artists themselves. You notice how the media seizes the feud and turns it into a machine. Headlines exaggerate every insult, every gesture, every vague tweet. You flip through articles that frame the clash as the greatest rap rivalry of the decade, painting Cardi and Nicki as if they're locked in a battle for a throne that can never be shared. Talk shows debate who's right, podcasts analyze the timing of each move, and reaction videos rack up millions of views. You realize this isn't just entertainment anymore, it's a business, and both women are at the center of a storm that benefits everyone around them. Cardi plays into it, sometimes willingly, sometimes by force. You see her use parts of the feud as content, dropping lines in her interviews that make subtle jabs, fueling speculation without giving away everything. At the same time, she makes it clear that her focus is on her career and her family. The duality is striking. You watch a woman fiercely defending her artistry in one moment and then proudly embracing her pregnancy journey in the next. It's messy, unfiltered, and real, which is why her supporters stand by her so firmly. Nicki, on the other hand, thrives in the role of strategist. Every post feels planned, every barb designed to sting without fully crossing into territory that could damage her brand. She knows how to stay trending, how to pull attention back to herself, and how to make fans feel like they're fighting alongside her. You scroll through her timeline and see the confidence radiate, as if she knows that being talked about, no matter how, is its own kind of victory. The cycle spins endlessly. You begin to realize the feud has outgrown its origins. It's not about who sold more records or who dropped the better album. It's about control, power, and who can bend the narrative in their favor while the world watches. You feel the temperature rise when the feud slips completely past the music and into their personal lives. The pregnancy digs haven't cooled down, and now whispers of family drama, past altercations, and even courtroom moments get pulled into the spotlight. You scroll through clips resurfacing their infamous physical clash from years ago, edited side by side with their latest words, as if the internet is determined to prove that nothing has changed. Fans share timelines connecting every jab, every lyric, every award show snub, until the feud feels less like random outbursts and more like a saga years in the making. Cardi, unbothered by the mounting scrutiny, leans into her rawness. She films herself with little polish, ranting in real time, letting the emotions spill through every word. You can almost feel the exhaustion in her tone tone, but also the defiance. She reminds everyone that she's still winning. Her album's success, her growing family, her ability to take hits and keep standing. The vulnerability mixed with aggression makes her presence magnetic, impossible to ignore. Nicki counters with her usual precision. Her posts drip with sarcasm, her likes and shares fueling speculation, her fans decoding every line as though they're clues in a larger game. She doesn't need to shout. Her silence between responses speaks just as loud, leaving everyone guessing about her next move. You notice how she keeps the feud alive without burning herself out, always maintaining control of the stage. The atmosphere turns chaotic. Blogs twist statements into scandals, fans flood live chats with insults, and every new development feels like a spark on dry grass. You sense that the feud has reached its messiest point, where truth and performance blur so tightly that no one can tell the difference anymore. It feels less like two artists disagreeing and more like a storm that neither of them is willing to step out of. You stand at the edge of the chaos, realizing the feud has become more than just Cardi B and Nicki Minaj exchanging blows. It's no longer about a single diss track or a single shady post. It's a cultural divide. You watch fans split into armies, dragging the feud across every corner of social media, using it as a proxy war for their own identities, frustrations, and dreams. The fight between two women in hip-hop becomes a fight between generations, between styles, between visions of what rap is supposed to be. Cardi represents rawness, the unfiltered voice of someone who rose from nothing and never let polish bury her authenticity. She thrives in the chaos, wearing her imperfections like armor. You sense that she doesn't care if people see the cracks, because those cracks are what make her story real. Nicki embodies precision and legacy. She's been at the top too long to be rattled easily, and every move she makes feels deliberate, crafted to remind you that she's still the blueprint. Her fan base clings to her as the queen who carved the lane Cardi now walks in, a figure too important to be replaced. As you scroll through the noise, you realize something deeper. The feud never really ends, because it was never designed to. Every clapback, every lyric, every award show, side-eye feeds a cycle that keeps them both in the spotlight. It isn't just anger, it's strategy, survival, and maybe even necessity. You leave the feed knowing this isn't just gossip. It's history in motion. Hip-hop is being shaped in real time, and whether you're Team Cardi, Team Nicki, or somewhere in between, you can't look away.